Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar on the European Union Deforestation Regulation or EUDR. We are delighted to have you join us as we explore what this regulation means for businesses and how we can prepare for the compliance together. My name is Stijn Dont and I'm responsible for finance and IT within Reputational Europe. Here's what we will cover today, an introduction to SOA people and Fuji Oil, and how we are collaborating on EUDR compliance. Secondly, we will have an overview of the EUDR itself, what it is, why it matters, and who it affects. And then third one is the future-proof solution, how we are addressing the challenges and ensuring ongoing compliance. Who are we? We are Fuji Oil Europe. We are a global player in producing oils and fats and chocolate compounds for the B2B markets. How are we linked to SOA? Fuji Oil and SOA people are working closely for many years, support, and last 2 years we were closely collaborating in the upgrade of our old SAP system, ECC, to the new S4 system. To ensure not just compliance, but excellence in adapting to the new regularity landscape, our partnership is crucial. Our combined expertise positions us to tackle the challenges ahead with confidence. As Fuji Oil, we are committed to future compliance, and SOA people is helping us to get there. We are working with the best teams to meet the requirements of the EUDR. Our focus is on building robust processes that will stand the test of time. Now, the bigger picture. Let's zoom out for a moment. EUDR is about more than just ticking boxes. It's about contributing to a sustainable future, and our efforts are part of a larger movement towards environmental responsibility, renewable energy, and ethical business practices. The EUDR is a part of the European Green Deal, which aims to make Europe the first climate-neutral continent. This initiative covers everything from clean energy and protecting nature to making homes energy efficient and financing green projects. At its heart, it's about ensuring sufficient, healthy, and sustainable food for everyone. Now, let's dive into the EUDR itself. What is it and why is it so important for companies operating in or within the EU? The EUDR has two main objectives: to reduce the EU's impact on global deforestation and to preserve biodiversity worldwide. The deadline for compliance is January 26, so the time to act is now. The regulation covers 7 key commodities: cocoa, palm oil, cattle, coffee, wood, rubber, and soy. It also includes products derived from these, such as chocolate, leather, furniture, and certain palm oil-based derivatives. The rule applies to importers, processors, manufacturers, and all products imported to, available within, or exported from the EU. EUDR will impact several business areas. Finance and compliance is one. New reporting responsibilities and significant penalties for non-compliance, up to 4% of the annual EU turnover. Second one is supply chain. The need to traceability mechanisms to track product origins from source to shelf and change in supplier onboardings and risk classifications. Third one is procurement, collecting detailed supplier data, including plot geolocations and obtaining verified supplier declarations. And last but not least, IT and data management. SAP system must now capture new data types such as geo-coordinates and due diligence records and integrate satellites or third-party risk data.
Hello, my name is Anne Francis from SOA People. I'm acting as a group program manager. Like Stijn explained before, we have some challenges also for the EUDR. First of all, Stijn mentioned already that the traceability is one of the most important functionalities because you have to trace in the production process, in the supply chain processes, but also at the end to sell products. So standard SAP flows have not standard in the product, the batch composition and the mentioning of EUDR, meaning a DDS number and a verification number. On the other side, we have it also on the inbound side, where the suppliers will be obliged to send also an EUDR specifications, namely the geolocation on one side, but on the other side, the EUDR, meaning the DDS and a verification number. And then, as you know all, it's sharp in time, because on 1st of January 26, we need to be able to do the EUDR registrations like it should be in all the means of the processes. Our solution. So together with Fuji Oil, we delivered now a complete solution, and we will explain step by step what we have done so far at Fuji Oil, and later that you can also use as your solution. First of all, like we said, we have some suppliers, and we have also, for certain products, geolocations, plantages that we can upload in the EUDR platform. We can do that via Excel or other tools. At Fuji, we did it via an Excel upload. Later on, when you receive goods from a supplier, you have to identify that specific product, that specific batch with an EUDR number. And that number is consisting of two numbers. One side, a DDS number, and on the other side, a verification number. So once you have a receipt, then you need to request on the EU platform what will be the DDS and the verification number of that specific vendor batch. Then you are producing in the meantime, and you are producing end products. At the moment that you sell a product, also there you need to identify for the customer a unique verification number and DDS number for that specific batch. Indeed, it's not only in your system, in S4HANA or in your SAP system, but also on the documents. So in the delivery document and on the invoice, you need to specify the verification and DDS number. How is our solution now built? So first, we upload the geolocations of your plantages. That's the first step. Then we will receive and store a DDS and verification number during the purchasing process of your specific supplier based on the vendor batch. Thirdly, we will track all the DDS and verification number during all internal processes. Let's say that you have one component with a DDS verification number, a second component with a DDS verification number, and you are producing to an end product, which is combined of those two components. Then you have two verification numbers and two DDS numbers, and you can go on. When you do some mixing steps in your production system, when you store the material, so each time you need to keep track of all DDS and all verification numbers. At a certain point of time, you want to sell that product that you have produced, and then you will collect all those DDS and verification numbers, send it to the EU platform, and then you will receive one unique DDS and verification number, because that number will be linked to the final sub batch. And then at the last point, you need, when you are selling the product to your end customer, you need to put those DDS and verification numbers for customs, for example, on the delivery note and the invoice. All those DDS and verification numbers can be traced in SAP via the batch information cockpit, and that we will explain you in a few moments. As Stan mentioned, we need only EUDR for some products, not all of them. How we do that? We receive from the European Commission a list of commodity codes. In SAP, you store normally a material with a certain commodity code. So what we have done, we have identified these products in SAP that should have a DDS and verification number. We do that via the usage of classification and characteristics on a batch. This is a standard functionality, but you have to set it up, but it's standard functionality. Batch classification is also helping us via the batch information cockpit to retrieve all the processes, first of all, the production processes, inbound, outbound processes with their relative vendor batches, sub-batches, but also the DDS and verification number, like you see it here. So for a certain material and batch, you will get a DDS and a verification number. After a purchase of a material, you will have a DDS verification number. During the production process, you will have different DDS verification number. And when selling an end product, you will also have a DDS and verification number. Finally, all those numbers should appear in one final number in the delivery note and the invoice. SAP is very strong in for that solution because they have, like we called, the batch information cockpit, and you have it already on SAP ECC and you have it on SAP S/4HANA, because you can trace top down and bottom up. So you enter a vendor batch and you can see directly a DDS verification number. You enter an end product, so a sub batch, and you see what is the DDS verification number. As we mentioned, for the internal processes, because that's the most difficult part, you are producing different components are used to get an end product. You have to keep track of all those DDS and verification numbers. And you see it here. You can only do that in SAP via a functionality which is called derivation of batch data. So after buying the components, you start the production. On each of the components, you have a DDS verification number. After the production order, you confirm that you have produced with all the numbers. When you mix batches, for example, it's also important to keep track of those DDS verification numbers. And then you use it via the derivation of the batch data. And you see it in the screen. What are now the prerequisites for our solution? First of all, you have to use SAP, and naturally you have to use the business processes for production, sales, and purchasing. You will also use materials. Normally you have that in your SAP system, but also the functionality of batch management in SAP. For this solution, it can work on ECC and it can work on S/4HANA. And for the communication to the EU platform, we need API communication technology. So that's a must. How can we implement for you now? First, we will assess, and then we will do a ready solution. During the assessment, we will look into your system. We will look to the material master, identify the materials which are relevant for EUDR. We will also verify the batch determination if you have it already in SAP. We will also review your connectivity and if you are able already to use API in your SAP environment. As you know, we need to put the DDS and verification number on the delivery note and invoice. We need to know if it's still smart forms or do you have already Adobe forms. And then we will identify the gaps of our solution versus your system. And then we will prepare an EUDR accelerator solution. The implementation is just installing that accelerator solution, and then we will implement, test the solution, and finally prepare the go live and the support. All this can be done in a time frame of 4 to 8 weeks. So budget-wise, what can you expect? First of all, we will have a flat fee for the accelerator on one side. Then on the other side, we have the implementation effort. And that's mainly to identify the gaps, but also supporting you implementing the accelerator, and then also for the after go live. To receive a customized offer based on your specific solution, can you please fill in the questionnaire after this webinar, and then we will organize a call with you, with our experts, in order to have a personalized offer for this solution. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Anne, for this webinar. So as mentioned in the live, if you have some question or some thing that you want to ask to Anne directly, you can post your question. I can see already, Anne, that we have 2 questions. Do you see them, Anne?
I see them, yeah. Okay. I will, how do you manage, how do you manage the reference numbers for combined products where the input raw materials are stored, for example, in silos, and it's not possible to know exactly which batch is used in the combined product? Yeah, can I answer directly, Jeremy? Yes?
Yeah, you can answer directly in the live.
Okay. So what we have at Fuji Oil also, we have, when we put some products in a silo, and then sometimes we have another product which is comparable that we have also in the silo, we are making a so-called mixed batch. And that mixed batch is a new SAP batch, and that is finally linked to a new DDS and verification number. So that's how we treated it at Fuji. Because even in SAP, when you combine 2 batches, then you need something, and that's for us the mixed batch. Is that okay as answer? Okay. Okay. On EU traces, the DDS slightly different to export, for export and domestic. How do you handle when creating the DDS on a production batch level and not on a delivery? Yes. We saw, as you know, you have to identify yourself first on the EU platform, and there you can have a choice between operator and trader. Trader is just purchasing and selling. Operator is being also producer of materials. So that's a big difference, because also the API messages are slightly different. That's one. We have indeed a difference between export and domestic. Now, on a production batch, we never do that. So what they are asking, and we ask because the documentation at EU is not clear, but we asked it if it should be on delivery level or on production level. And it is SAP terminology, it's on sub-batch. So it's not on delivery. I give you an example. We are, for example, you have 1 silo and you do a delivery of 10 tons, for example. So the half of the silo. And then next day you do the other half. We thought in the beginning that on each delivery, we need to have a DDS verification submit request. It's not the case. So it's a sub-batch. So 1 silo is 1 sub-batch, and that should be linked to a DDS verification number. But it was really unclear in the documentation because we had to check it also. So I hope it's okay as answer. I see some thumbs, so okay. Do you have other questions?
Yeah, we have other question. If you see also, Anne.
Okay, wacht.
Yeah,
It's not so. Yeah, it's not so easy. It's also working. I will give the answer. It's also work for SAP R3. Yeah? So it's no problem, because as long as the batch information cockpit is working, it's okay. The only point is that you have to check is that you can do API exchanges. So it's based HTML exchanges with the platform of EU. That's a communication issue perhaps, but if you are exchanging already to other systems, then there is no problem. But SAP normally, and it's already long, it's from I think the version, it's not enhancement pack 6 even, it's much before that they have the batch information cockpit, so that's not the issue, but please check the API connectivity. Does it also work for customers without? Yeah, yes. But then you without in-house production, no problem. Then you are trader. So you are. It's when you do the registration on the EU platform, you are trader. So meaning that you will purchase products, and there you receive the DDS verification number based on the vendor batch. And then you are selling goods without any production. And there, again, you will submit your product and the request to the EU platform, and you receive a DDS verification number. So yes, you don't have to use production, but then you are trader. How are you connecting towards Europe? Well, yeah. So first of all, it's a procedure. It's a procedure. You have, first of all, a test environment at EU platform. So that's a good thing. So you are doing the tests, requesting a DDS, submitting DDS information. You have two contacts, a business contact and a technical contact. And there is a total protocol. And that's the most, it's an authentication protocol. And that's the most complicated one, because the messages of requesting and submitting, that's not an issue, but it's the authentication. You have a total documentation. If you are interested, we can share a total information bundle from the European Commission, how you have to authenticate. And then they do it first on a test. Then they give you a response back that it's success or not, what you have to do. And then you can start submitting DDS and verification numbers. And so it's an authentication based on an API exchange. And you have to look into the firewalls and so on. But that's a classic one when you do communications outside. I hope it's okay for the answer. Other questions? Jeremy, I don't see other questions. Ah, okay. In case of serious, so for every delivery, one has to ask a new number. No, it's no. For every sub batch, you need to request an DDS verification. Not for every delivery, for every batch, sub batch. That's a good question. Next, it's where does sub green token fit into this? It's replacing the green token of SAP. Green token is also a complete solution provided by SAP. But as you know, it's again a module. There is a license. It's also an integration, but like I call it, a satellite integration. So you will have duplication of master data and so on. So you need to duplicate the materials, you need to duplicate batches, and so on. So this solution is an alternative to the green token. Why we have chosen that together with Fuji? Because one, price, 2, total implementation efforts, and 3, because it's duplication of data, master data, and it's too risky. Plus, when you do a delivery to a customer, you have a little time, Fuji has a little time to send out that batch. If that batch is known already by forehand, then there is no problem. But let's say that you need to do a mixed batch, and in some of the cases at Fuji we have that, a mixed batch, then you have to quickly request a DDS verification number to EU and then come back. And that response time we can manage directly on the platform. And if we have to pass before to a satellite solution, green token, and then do the communication and then come back, I was, we were a little bit frightened because we did some tests with EU on the application, on the test system of the EU, and the response time was not always like it should be. So, it's a question also of response time of the DDS verification number. So I hope this is, but it's an alternative on the green token solution. Okay, as a trader, can we use the DDS from the supplier? Yes, yes. You will receive, when you purchase from your supplier, you will have a DDS verification number. But if that product is not changing at all, you link it internally in your subsystem to a sub-batch. And that's an obligation, because it's not only sending and receiving to EU, but also you need to keep DDS verification number. So you need to link that DDS verification number to the vendor batch you receive in SAP when you do the purchasing of the goods, when you do the goods receipt, that you store, and then you can sell it. The only thing that you have to do is be aware that you have to put that on the delivery note and the invoice. So you need to keep the DDS verification number via the batch information cockpit. So I hope it's okay for, okay. Will we receive a recording of this webinar? Jeremy, you can answer.
Yes, indeed. Of course, you will receive directly the replay of the webinar after the live.
Other questions?
Yeah. Okay, and so thank you everyone. We will close this webinar. If you have any question, don't hesitate to come back to us directly, and it would be a pleasure for us to answer. You will receive automatically, as we say, the replay. So just one last question for everyone.
Yeah, okay. Why do put DDS on an? Yeah, it's not my thing, but for some countries, normally it's only, as Stan explained also, is within EU, coming in EU, and so, but normally then you don't need an invoice really in the truck, but it was advisable, and now it's also put legally that and the delivery note and the invoice is mandatory. But the question is, we had the same question, why we have to put it on the invoice. On the delivery, I can understand, but on the invoice, but it's like that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Anne. So we will close this webinar. Before to leave, as Anne mentioned, please fill in the polls. It would be something really relevant for us, and like that we can help you also better behind. I wish a good day to everyone. Thank you, Anne. And
okay, thank you. Thank you all for the questions.
Have a
also.
good day. Yeah. Thank you. Have a good day all, and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.